Guys, what did I do? I got absolutely wrecked. Why was I bearish on Ethereum? Everyone was telling me it was going to bounce. Now it's up so much. I've missed out. I'm joking, obviously. This pump is kind of crazy, to be fair. $25 billion in trading volume. Red alert. Down 51%. Okay, so the volume is down 51% today. We obviously traded it, made an absolute killing. 882%. I took profits. I'm out. If I ever make an 8, 10, 15, 20, 50x, I count my blessings. It's not easy to make money in this space right now, especially as we're in the last year of the bull run. Last year, easy. The year before, easy. You just buy, wait for the Bitcoin to go all-time high. You know, any idiot could make money in the last few years. Now it gets very, very hard, and you have to be early. You have to be on the ball. You have to be looking at the on-chain data. You have to be analyzing all sorts of data to be early to these things, because like we've seen with Ethereum, they'll just explode out of nowhere. Huge gains. Ethereum, you can see here. Actually, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. $18,000. You can't see how much I already cashed out. So I did cash out, I think, around 10,000 on this. So $18,000 in profit there, plus whatever I cashed out. I'd already taken some profits off the table on that, so probably like $25,000 or 882%. Look at the mood day trade as well. It's crazy. Oh, you can see it here. Yeah, look, realized P&L $11,000. So in total, $29,000 on Ethereum. And then 27,000 plus 10,000, 37,000 on mood day in a day. In one single day, guys. Just 2 trades. Absolutely insane. So really, really nice. Ethereum is pumping. I am happy for everyone who has held Ethereum. I mean, obviously, you're still not anywhere near all-time highs, but I hope it does get there. I don't want anyone to lose money. And hey, I want you guys to make money, because if you make money, that money's going to be coming back down into other altcoins, right? So I hope you guys really do print. And I hope it is the exchanges and the whales and the VCs who pump this price. Maybe they really like the new upgrade. I've looked into it. I'm not too blown away by it. It doesn't solve the fee issue. It doesn't solve much. And it gives more authority to the layer 2s. And I don't like it, an ecosystem where you've got all these people sort of spread into different layer 2s, and liquidity is now spread on 5 different layer 2s, like Arbitrum and all these. So I don't like it. I hope it does well, right? I don't want anyone to lose. I don't want anyone to fail. I'm going to tell you guys sort of what I would be doing with Ethereum. I'm out. I've already taken profits. I've already, made a lot of money. I'm out. And I'm just going to give you guys the on-chain data, what's going on with the charts as well, where my sort of technical levels are, what I would do. And I am still looking for a short. As you know, I love to short. I love to short things. And we actually shorted. When did we short this? We shorted this January, 21st of January, opened a short on BTC, Ethereum, Sui, Sol. As you guys know, Solana was like $250, came down to $100. And we longed $100 too. So we shorted on the way down. We longed $100. Opened a short on BTC. BTC was like 105K. And then Ethereum just completely melted. The 21st of January. So 21st of January was here. Sorry, this is December. 21st of January was here. So we shorted here, and just it's absolutely dumped. I actually took profits. I didn't hold all the way to the bottom. But yeah, made a killing, and we ended up longing the bottom. Now, we did actually short, took a little bit of a preemptive short here. Now I'm going to talk about a mistake that I made in trading this. So we had loads of sell signals up here in January across the market, not just on Ethereum, and obviously everything was pumping like crazy. It's very normal for the market to have a cool down, a correction, and we went into this crash on ETH. And if you're not used to the SMC bot, what happens is when you get these sell signals, you're now going from support into resistance. So the SMC moving average becomes resistance. And as I say to everybody, why would you buy the dip here? Right? Why would you buy the dip here? Because, you bought the dip here at 2.7, it's shortly down to 1.8. Even if you bought the dip here, you might have been 50% down here, right? So I don't like to try and catch falling knives, and more often than not, this place is extremely volatile and things do come down 50-60% in a very short amount of time. So I personally wait for the buy signals from the SMC bot. So we had the sells up here, I flipped short, and I've just been waiting. We came back to the SMC, look, perfect entry if you missed your first entry. This is on the daily, by the way, guys. I love the daily. Got close to the SMC, again, rejection, straight down. Okay, so if you missed these first two sells, you had another opportunity here when we got close to the SMC, and we've not managed to get close to it since. One thing that did raise my eyebrows is we came down, and you see over here on the legend on the SMC bot, you've got this green uptrend bar. So this indicates that you might be at the start of an interest, and we're trying to fine tune this, but it's getting better and better. And we had this green bar flash up, not just on ETH. I actually went long on Solana. So it was ETH, Solana, SUI. We also longed SUI, absolutely printed on that. Various different stuff. I didn't want to long an asset that I wasn't too confident on, that I didn't like, that I didn't want to hold long term, that I didn't believe in. As you guys know, I'm all about other layer ones like Solana, SUI, Casper, and I didn't want to buy this, and it was the right decision, right? People will say, "Oh, you missed out." Well, actually, I was long in Solana and SUI, so I definitely didn't miss out, and I ended up long in ETH in the end. So, congratulations to anyone who longed this. I mean, you could have longed anything when the stock market crashed and it almost closed. We actually came down to a massive support, right? I talked about this and said, guys, we're at support. It doesn't look like we're going to get much lower than this. And then it happened to be the bottom, and a lot of things rallied. We bought some stocks as well. They've nearly doubled in price. So yeah, this green signal is phenomenal. It's I only introduced this to the SMC bot in the last month or so, and it's becoming so accurate with these bottoms. And it's not just like saying you're bottomed, you're looking for a bottom, right? The price is down 50-60%. You're actively looking for a reversal here. And if you are looking for an entry and you think you might have bottomed, when you see this green on the daily, for me personally, it's a really nice area for me to enter along or to look to accumulate or buy. And it's going to be amazing in a bear market. I can't wait to see this in a bear market. And I want to see it on daily and weekly in a bear market, because we're looking at much longer time frames. So what did I say about this SMC trend line? The trend is your friend until the end. So I wouldn't buy or take long positions until we close above this. Now, I did kind of take a preemptive long here. So you see where the SMC daily closed above here, right? It closed above. I actually took a long position here, which technically was the right thing to do, right? We had the green bar indicator, the rest of the market was starting to pull up. Ethereum was down so much. We were looking for some sort of market reversal. Trade deals were starting to be lined up, and Trump said there's some really good news to look forward to. And then we eventually saw the UK deal. But because I was trading with leverage, I had to set a stop loss, and I actually did hit my stop loss because the price came above but then came back below. And I said, the trend is your friend until the end. I want to see closes above this line. And I love this tactic because I can't really get wrecked. If I take a long, we're going to get one sort of direction when you come up to this level, right? You're not just going to go sideways forever. Well, if I take a long here and it crashes back below, I hit my stop loss, right? So I'm out. So if it does go down like this, I'm out of the position. I did actually open a short as well, which ended up hitting a stop loss. And then if the price doesn't reject and actually closes back above, we're going to finish on a buy signal. Okay, so what I'm doing in these situations is I'm looking at the bot and I'm just following the signals. And if it does take one direction, so we were expecting it to make a big move to either the upside or the downside, right? So it's either going to go like this or it was going to go like this. And if I just go with the last signal, I'm going to at some point win, right? Because if it goes up, there's going to be a buy, and if it goes down, there's going to be a sell, regardless if it closes above or below this level. So that's how I traded it, and then we ended up closing on a buy signal. It moved up so fast. They know people are taking long positions here. They tried to shake some people out. And then I ended up taking a long position because we had the volume, we had the momentum, the market was picking up. And it's very unusual to close well above this and not get some more upside. You see how the candles went from blue to green. So when they go green, it's very rare that you get your first green candle and then you don't see green continued. And I wouldn't really panic too much until I saw yellow candles, because yellow candles will indicate that you might see some downside. Did we get some yellow candles at the top? Yeah, so you see here, these yellow candles are sort of indicating that you're getting a little bit greedy here, mate. We might start to see a reversal. So keep an eye out for these yellow candles. Secondly, resistance levels. Let's look at resistance. There's a few different resistance levels. So I'm looking at the weekly now. Really nice yellow candles on these corrections up here. Look at these yellows on the weekly. So we're looking at resistance. This is an interesting level, right? Because we had previous resistance here, 3 touch points, 4th touch point, and it's also coming back up to the SMC weekly, right? Which also acts as quite a big resistance. Look at here, resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, eventually broke through. You're also coming up off a big move to the upside. So what happens when you have a big move to the upside? Sometimes you'll have a correction or a pullback and a slowdown. The RSI does actually look like you do have some more energy to actually go to the upside. Now, the RSI is just one indicator, guys. I don't solely trade off this. I would be looking for confluence. But if we look how the RSI behaved in the last dump and pump, RSI came down to oversold here, so around this sort of region, had this massive rally. I say massive, right? Massive for Ethereum. Massive rally to the upside. And then RSI was oversold here, and then straight nuke to the downside. Now the RSI was oversold again, and we come to the upside. Sorry, it's overbought up here. So the RSI technically could start to push to the upside. What I'd love to see for a short position, now I don't need to trade every day. I don't want to overtrade. You know, I just made $120,000 yesterday. I don't want to give that money back to the exchanges. I want to wait for a position of strength. I want to have like four or five, 6 signals that, you know, indicate that you might be at the start of a reversal. And right now, I don't see that. Could we reverse from here? Absolutely, right. So we push, if this RSI pushes up to the top, very similar to here, I want to see the RSI on the weekly get back up to overbought. Because when we get back up here, if we get back up here, we're going to have so much froth and FOMO in the market. We're going to be back in greed, back in extreme greed. Everyone's going to be saying Ethereum to 20K. I've seen some wild numbers, guys, for Ethereum. People are saying 15K, 20K, the usual, right? And then before you know it, it's back in a downtrend. So I am still expecting downside from Ethereum. And you know, I'll be looking for this RSI to push up into at least all-time high. Where would that take the price? Nobody knows. We are at the 200-week moving average right now, and we can clearly see that there is a bit of resistance there. See how the weekly is trying to close below the 200-week, and look how it rested on the 200-week previously. So a massive level. We then have this downward sloping resistance. We then have the SMC weekly, and then we then have the 50-week slightly above. So personally, I mean, look at this buy signal from the bear market. It's phenomenal. Personally, this 200 week should be respected because it's been respected so much. And also, so should the SMC weekly, and so should this downwards sloping line. So really, this area here, to me, looks like a very nice short position on Ethereum. So around 2.6K, 2.5K, 2.6K. There's a lot of talk about it pushing up to 3,000, which is you know, another major level. And you know, that's going to be a huge level. You see here the previous resistances. The problem with Ethereum is you guys have so much resistance, man. You have so many resistance levels to get through now because you come down so much. It's just resistance after resistance, and people have so much PTSD in Ethereum, and people have so much money. So don't forget, people weren't down $1,000, $100,000. Serious whales were down 20 million, 50 million. And when the price pushes up 100%, those whales are up again from where they were, 20 million, 50 million. So they don't want to lose that money. And also, and you know, when you have this kind of a correction, they know that it's very hard to go straight from 1.3K straight up to 4.1K, right? They know it's very hard to do that V-shaped recovery, especially when you had so much FUD around ETH, and we can clearly see, we're going to talk about the on-chain data, but we can clearly see Solana is just more years ahead of Ethereum in terms of adoption and user activity. I wouldn't focus on even on technicals too much. I would focus on user activity. We do see ETH trickling up. We're going to talk about this because I'm jumping around, but can ETH push back to all-time high? If it does, think about how much resistance you guys are going to have up here, right? You've got previous resistance. This is weekly time frame as well. The more times you test the level, the stronger it gets. But if you push up all the way in a straight line, I mean, it's going to be a short for me personally. There's multiple short areas, but it's going to be a short for me. I would be looking to short this range around here again with a stop loss, guys. And my stop loss would probably be over 3,000. If you start closing above on 3,000, probably going to start to retest these highs around $4,000, right? It's going to be the next level to test if you're able to get that high. But also, I'm looking for the weekly. So I want to see the weekly RSI push to the upside. I want to see us come back to these strong areas of resistances here. And momentum slow down. We do see volume slowing down, which is good. If you're looking to short, that is, right? Volume has dropped by 50% in a day. Which is a lot, right? We could even reverse for a cool down here. If we are going to move to the upside, personally, I wouldn't want to see us just break straight up like this. I would actually prefer to see some sort of a pullback to some sort of support, find support, and then climb higher. Because then it's a stronger move to the upside, right? If you try to move up in one sort of explosive move, it's usually followed by an explosive move back down to the downside. Very, very hard to trade. That's why I wouldn't be trying to short too early. I would want to see all of the signs and signals before I enter the trade. And that's pretty much it. I mean, look, let's give you guys a bull case scenario. Eventually, if Ethereum does, I'm not trading this, by the way, I'm not buying Ethereum. If it does break to the upside, you've kind of got this ascending triangle that's been forming for a very long time. If it does push back to the upside and you do get a breakout, the target is going to be around 4.5k for the breakout target. I'd be very surprised if it gets there. Hey, maybe it does, but that's the sort of technical target I'd be looking at. What was I talking about on chain data? So as you guys know, I shorted ETH on January. We've already talked about that. I've made my money on Ethereum. Like I'm done. I'm happy. This was a nice place to take a long position. Right now you're in the middle of no man's land. So do you long here? I mean, personally, I wouldn't long, because you can either have a retrace or maybe momentum carries on. You can push to the upside, right? You're not in a position of strength here. The odds of making some money when the RSI is oversold, you've got loads of buy pressure, volumes coming in. The SMC bot gives you a daily buy. You've had this massive correction. The odds of you losing taking a long down here are much lower than taking it up here, right? So I'm kind of just playing the probabilities. Likewise, the odds of you winning taking a short here or a short here are much higher than taking a short position here, right? So again, it's about, personally for me, waiting for a position of strength. This chart shows the active addresses on blockchains, and here I've got Base, Ethereum, and Solana. And here you can see Ethereum is the green one, and you can just see it's all the way down here. Look at the tiny little blip of a movement that we've had in active addresses. So clearly we can see that there's not really any active addresses coming back onto Ethereum. There's like a tiny amount of activity. Maybe this is going to keep going to the upside. Base actually had more activity, but nowhere compared to Solana. Look at Solana's explosive move to the upside. And this level is how many active addresses? 5 million active addresses. And Ethereum is still sitting at below 500,000 or around 500,000. So, Solana is over 10x in user activity than Ethereum. So personally, I will be going where the users go. I will be focusing on where the activity is. We know why, right? The Ethereum is expensive and it's slow and the UI is horrible. So we know why people are going there. So I prefer to trade Solana personally, or accumulate Solana in the bear market. Looking at the balances, now this is the top 100 holders of Ethereum. So we got Coinbase are holding 11.9 billion. Binance hold $10 billion worth. This is good. They have roughly the same amount. Actually, Coinbase have another wallet, Coinbase Prime, which holds 4.3 billion. So Coinbase actually have more than Binance, which is quite strange because Binance are doing much more numbers than Coinbase. So yeah, this would worry me if the numbers were massively different, right? So if Coinbase had like twice or three times as much as Binance, the risk management team might be like, hey, we don't really need this much. Binance is our competition. We're a little bit overexposed to Ethereum. It's had a bit of a rally. Maybe we should drop off. Now, technically, Coinbase do have a lot more than Binance because they have the Coinbase Prime wallet as well, which has $4.3 billion in. So they do roughly have 50% more than Binance. So the risk management team could actually say, hey, we could actually de-risk to fall more in line with Binance. That's one thing that I would be worried about. You really want to see Binance accumulate more, and then you wouldn't be too concerned about that. In terms of who else, we've got Bitfinex have 8 billion. That's a lot for Bitfinex. Base 4 billion. Robinhood 4 billion. Upbit 3 billion. OKX 2 billion. Grayscale just 2.7 billion now. They sold so much. We don't have any outflows or inflows from the Grayscale wallet, so that's good. In terms of inflows and outflows, there's a mixture. So we have outflows from Binance, which is good. Outflows means people are buying, and inflows technically means people are selling. We do have inflows into Coinbase, inflows onto Base, but that could be for trading. Inflows onto Coinbase Prime, so people selling, taking profits. Outflows from Robinhood is interesting because drop in the comments actually. I think Robinhood actually have, I don't know if it's mainly retail or mainly TradFi. I know they have a mixture. If we can get the data on whether it's TradFi or retail, we can actually see here whether it's retail or TradFi that are FOMOing in. But it's interesting to see so many outflows from Robinhood. Upbit, in a lot of inflows, so people taking profits. OKX, a huge amount of outflows from OKX, which is interesting because that's an Asian exchange. So is there a market in China, in Asia at the moment? Arbitrum, Layer 2, Kraken, a lot of inflows on Kraken. Now, I know Kraken is quite institutional, so potentially we're seeing some institutional money taking profits or selling. Gemini, a lot of inflows, potential selling. I would say there's a lot of selling here, but again, there's a lot of outflow. So hard to read, but good data nonetheless. Now, did I get wrecked? There's a lot of people say to me, you missed out. Well, first of all, I already took a long position. I've made a lot of money. I also shorted Ethereum. I shorted Ethereum on the Grayscale ETF back here, and then I shorted Ethereum again here. So I've made a lot of money on ETH. I don't need to hold every asset. You don't need to hold every single asset, right? I buy things I believe in the bear market. I hold until the bull run, and then I start to take profits. So even if ETH goes up, let's say, even if Ethereum goes up, a lot of people are going to be on my socials. You got wrecked. You should have been bullish. If it goes up, let's say I bought the exact bottom, right? Because I'd have to buy the bottom. If it goes up to 4.7k, it's a 243% move. Like, give me a break, mate. It's a 243% move. I bought Solana down here, and ETH has just been going sideways. I bought Solana down here. Solana's gone up 1,170%. I bought Caspar in the bear market down here. Caspar went up, I think it was like 25x. Well, this says 5,000%. I didn't make 5,000%. It was 25x that the token went up from when I bought it personally. So I've had my bull run, guys. I hope Ethereum pumps. I'm trying to get to you. Don't need to be in everything. I know when the market's pumping, you get FOMO. Should I buy ETH? Think about your targets personally. If you buy ETH here, right, you're getting FOMO. Everyone's talking about it going to 10, 20k. if you buy it here, which is one of the riskiest places to buy it, if it goes all the way to 7k, it's 185% move. So, you know, you're talking about almost a 3x, guys. You turn your 1k into 3k. If a mind-blowing rally happens and it goes all the way up to 7k, you make, a 2 or 3x. Personally, not for me. I wouldn't risk my money for a 2 or 3x, especially during a rally or during a pump. I would just follow the SMC bot like I've been doing. I just follow the SMC. Now I'm literally going to be waiting for long positions. I'm going to be looking for things that haven't rallied and that we get buy signals from on the SMC bot. We've just been following the SMC. It's just been making it easy for us, right? Long position down here, bought SUI down here, sold SUI up here, bought SUI down here. Pretty much the same with Solana. SUI chart looks amazing, guys. This is what you want to see with ETH. You want to see a pullback into some sort of support and then a break to the upside. SUI, would be very surprised if SUI doesn't push up to all-time highs. Again, I've already taken profits, so I'm not looking to overtrade these. I took a long here on the buy. I think I took profit somewhere around here when we start to have a pullback, and I'm not looking to risk it, because sometimes what happens is you get this and then you get welcome to the bear market. And I've been here, I've seen it happen. I've made a lot of money trading these moves, and I'm taking profits. But I hope, again, guys, I hope it does push up to all-time highs. I'd be very surprised after this move now if you don't get some more upside to at least all-time high from here, especially if this bull run continues. I'll be watching the RSI as well. Pay close attention to the RSI. The RSI on the weekly is coming back to that overbought level. And, again, like I talked about with Ethereum, if I see a lot of RSIs pushing to the top and I start to see these yellow candles here that indicate that you might be at the start of a downtrend, RSI overbought, yellow candles, best believe I'm going into a short position, especially if the RSI is overbought here and we start to get yellow candle prints here. I would definitely be looking for very big short positions. And look, it would be a lovely M pattern, which we know this space loves to form over and over again. Be a beautiful trade. Double top, M pattern, yellow candles, RSI overbought. Fantastic. Those are the kind of short positions setups that I'm looking at, but I'm not rushing into any shorts. I'm not trying to short here. I'm not trying to short here. If I do, it's with like 0.1%. I'm not taking any serious shorts, right? I'm just having little degens here and there. I think that is pretty much it, guys. Keep an eye on the ETH volume. You want to see that volume to start to recover. If you want to get involved with us, if you want to see all my buy and sell alerts, if you want to see all of my trades, my shorts, my portfolio, head over to my X and you can see here my channel. Click here to get involved. You actually get the SMC bot with the Patreon as well. So when you sign up, you get the SMC bot, you get access to the Discord, and we got all sorts of stuff in here. We're buying stocks, we're trading stocks. I've got a professional leverage trader in here that gives signals. You can see down here, pro leverage trader section. I'm not a day trader. I'm more trade the swings, right? So I know a lot of people do day trade, and more power to you. I hope you win. I just don't like it. I think it's a much, for me personally, it's a much safer play just to buy the crashes, sell the pumps. Buy the crashes, sell the pumps, right? I'm more of a swing trader, and not just because I like to swing trade. The SMC bot on the daily is phenomenal for swing trading. So it just makes it easier for me. I don't have to constantly be every hour, every 4 hours, where are we at? We at resistance, we at this. Because when you zoom out, if in doubt, zoom out, you're just in an uptrend, right? Day traders up here are like, oh, we're crashing. No, we're pumping, we're crashing. Oh, we're pumping, we're crashing, we're pumping. It's not good for your mental health, first of all. And overall, you're just going up, right? You're just going up. And then when the trade starts to roll over, you can see here, SUI was such a beautiful trade. You see it starting to slow down and roll over. When it starts to roll over, again, you're in the downside. When do I close? When do I close? Well, just chill, mate. You don't need to do much, right? It's much an easier life. Swing trading for me personally, again, not financial advice, guys. Do your own research. Investing in crypto is highly risky. You can lose all your money investing in anything, especially crypto. So make sure you're always doing your research. We also have KOLs, so we're tracking KOLs. If you click over here, you can see, I won't click on it on this thing, but you can see Solana KOLs, Ethereum KOLs. You can see all of their buys and sells in real time. I'm adding to this KOL chain. So when we go into the bear market, I'm going to be having RWA sectors, AI sectors, AI KOLs, DeFi, gaming KOLs, if you're interested in gaming. So when each narrative starts to run, we can see what all the KOLs are buying, because usually the KOLs will get in early, and then there's a marketing rollout that happens on socials, and then that project tends to grow because obviously there's more exposure, especially if it's a good project, because KOLs do promote some good projects sometimes, right? It's not all meme coins and crap. They do promote some good projects that run, and some of them promote good meme coins that end up doing crazy runs too, right? So we want to see what they're up to. Also, we've got smart money signals here, so we can see what all the smart money are up to. For example, smart money sent $573,000 worth of Ondo. Sent means they sent it to an exchange. And it's 5 times the recent average. So to me, that would be a red flag, and I would be looking to see if maybe there's a short position. Let's do this live, actually. Ondo, why are they sending Ondo? I mean, everything's pumped, right? So we might see some profit taken, but Ondo is actually moving, right? So Ondo seems like it's trying to push to the upside here, and it's trying to break above this previous level. So I would look into this. I wouldn't initially take a short. 2 things: maybe the smart money are up to something and they know Ondo's about to pump, or it's at massive resistance and they're actually looking to take profits and get some off the table. But again, look at this massive downtrend, sell signal from Ondo up here at 140, went into a downtrend. Trend is your friend until the end. We came back, retested the SMC, couldn't get above, retested the SMC, couldn't get above, retested the SMC, couldn't get above. Bang, you close above, you come back, retest, and then move to the upside, right? Really, really nice. And we don't try and catch falling knives, right? Because you buy here, wrecked, buy here, wrecked. Sometimes, for me personally, I just wait until we get these buy signals, and then I start to look for more upside. So that's it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest, so you don't miss out on any of these videos. Until then, I will catch you in the next one.